You just don't think in that moment, but I knew I had to get her on an ambulance because there was nothing I could do. There's police coming all over, there were fire trucks, there were ambulances. That's when we really recognized that it was really happening, that people were actually being shot.
From the hospitals, we're hearing that there are at least 20 casualties that have been brought in, and that number is apparently growing.
At least 58 people now dead, more than 500 people wounded in a horrific shooting on the Las Vegas Strip. It's the deadliest mass shooting in modern United States history.
My name is Michelle Cole, and I am a nurse at a trauma center. I'm a trauma program manager. I met my husband in nursing school. He had been in the Navy, was a Navy corpsman, and so the nursing and medical was definitely a natural progression for him as well. I actually have 2 children that are also nurses and a son that's an EMT, so it's in our family, it's in our blood. Wanting to care for others is definitely a passion. Being the trauma program manager, I started taking some different classes and some different things to be able to educate myself, completely submerge myself in the trauma world. Some of the things I took was a Stop the Bleed class in 2015, the active shooter class with Safariland. Started getting myself educated in what our EMS system is. My son's best friend's parents invited us, and there were 20 of us. Of course, Vegas is a lot of fun. This is the first large concert that I've ever been to, and this was day 3 of the concert, and I had just walked down to the edge of the right side of the stage and videotaped for my son. And the shots rung out when I got back. Now, it sounded like fireworks. The second volley went, and that's when I recognized right away, no, that's gunshot. At that moment, I looked at my son and I said, that's gunshot, and we were now on the 3rd volley, and he said, we have to go, we have to go. There was a guy yelling at me, telling me that I needed to get down and hide, and I was like, no, you hide, you die, you run when you have the chance. We started running towards the right into the main portion of the venue, and then all of a sudden a crowd just started like engulfing us. He was shooting into the crowds of all the people there trying to leave, so we were in that crowd and people were, you could feel the gunshots. And we started ducking and diving and weaving and trying to get away. We were thinking that there were multiple shooters, and we had no idea what their intentions were, so we just continued to run. When we got around that corner, we found our first gunshot victim. And this really changed like the whole perspective of it. The girl that was with us, she said, you know, this girl shot, Michelle, you need to look at her. At that point, started recognizing and realizing, okay, this is real, and realizing that not everybody can help and know what to do. And at that point, I decided that I wanted to go back. When I made that decision to go back, I went on automatic pilot. It was kind of like, okay, this is what I do and this is what I know to do. And I actually felt like a calm. There was an ambulance there, and they had already started a triage. So I went and started triaging patients and seeing who needed tourniquets and who was bleeding out. There was a physician that was taking care of a girl. He had a tourniquet on one of the females. The tourniquet is definitely a #1 thing to have when you're in a situation like this. There's a combat gauze that is a impregnated gauze that you can actually put into a junctional area. I had another gentleman that had been shot in the leg, and they had placed a tourniquet, but I did have to reassess that tourniquet and make sure the bleeding had been controlled. The EMS came and said, we have to get all the patients inside. There's a shooter on the roof of Tropicana. So the police came through and said, get him out. So we moved him inside to finish taking care of them. I definitely feel that taking this Safariland course prior to being in this situation gave me the early heads up that this was happening. Training is absolutely the best thing. If you have a training, you're going to fall back on that. I felt empowered. I knew what to do. I had been through the training and I knew what to do. My son and I have both found this new passion to educate people in the public. So then he decided to take the active shooter class. He thrived in that class. So much that he got to know all of the instructors, and they asked him to be an instructor as well. I think it's relevant to today's times, and I think everybody needs to take this class to be able to understand, what you can do to save yourself or your family and give yourself those tools. This happened, and you can't change that, but you can help to change how you're going to react to it.